Tee off on the Turkish Riviera, Europe's premier golf destination. With championship courses in Belek and Antalya, luxury all-inclusive resorts and year-round sunshine, it is the perfect getaway under the Mediterranean sun. Play immaculate fairways designed by golf legends, then unwind beside stunning beaches and 5-star hospitality. Search Turkey on TripAdvisor now to book your ultimate golf holiday in the Turkish Riviera.
And welcome to Howie the Podcast. It's Gav, and you join us very, very early in the morning as we are here to chat all about Sunderland's 1-0 pre-season defeat in New Jersey to Leeds United, a game which actually had quite a bit of action in it, even though we didn't test the keeper particularly much, but lots to take from it, lots of positives, I'm sure, maybe some things we're not so happy with. So I'm here today to chat all about it with Andrew. Hello, mate.
Good morning, Mara. Good morning.
Good morning.
It is, aye. And yeah, like you say, for a pre-season friendly, there was a few things happening, a few things to look at.
It wasn't like a classic by any stretch. I think our Craig Chapman, who's over in the States watching the game, he was there. He sent a screenshot from his weather app of just how humid it was. It was 89% humidity in New Jersey with a dew point of 19 degrees. I mean, that is brutal, right? So I wasn't expecting a high-octane, fast-paced game of football because these are players trying just to get the fitness, and in that kind of heat, in those conditions, it was going to be tough to get a good game. So I don't think either side really gave a particularly brilliant representation of themselves. But again, it is pre-season. It's just a run-out for these players. But yeah, I think actually, Andrew, in the main, thought Sunderland dominated the ball, particularly in the first half. Second half, Leeds came into it a little bit more, but we probably still had the better of the possession, I would say, even with a weaker team out. And we couldn't convert a chance. We had plenty of sort of half chances where I was sat there thinking, one decent pass, and that's in the back of the net. There were a lot of them, particularly in the first half. But yeah, I think ultimately in the end it was just a tough game, to be fair, for both sets of players, if that's being fair.
I think that is fair. And whilst we're being fair play to Craig, because that lad is brilliant. He is here, there, everywhere, following Sunderland. He puts the miles in.
He does indeed.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the humidity did have a huge impact on the game because there were moments where it was a bit slow. And I think as well, the stage of pre-season we're at now probably contributed to that as well. I think this is the time when the players are doing the bulk of their fitness work that's going to see them through the season.
Yeah.
So they're probably not quite fully at their peak. That said, I agree with you. We created plenty of chances, and it could very easily, had the end ball been better, could very easily have been 3 or 4-1 to Sunderland. Yeah. The amount of times you got in behind and then got to the byline and pulled it back, and it was either the striker hadn't made the right move or the ball wasn't quite right. It was frustrating, but these are the things you're trying to kind of like work out during pre-season anyway. If anything, Gav, I would imagine Leeds fans are probably going to be a little bit more disappointed because although they won, I don't think they looked as good as we did in general.
Yeah, I would probably say that's fair. I think they might have their views of the game slightly altered by how well the new centre-half played. I thought he looked good for them. Muharamovic, he looked decent, didn't he? He looked like he wanted to make an impression, and that was his first run out for them, which was good for our forwards because it meant that they had to be on it. I think you could tell early in the game, couldn't you? Brobby wasn't really putting himself about, and then there were a couple of, not necessarily off Muharamovic, but off Joe Rodon. There were a couple of tussles with him, and it seemed to get the juices flowing, didn't it, for Brobby? And then next thing you know, it was prime Brian Brobby trying to chug people all over the place. And he actually linked up play really well, considering he was only on the pitch 35 minutes. And by the way, I love what Reggie said when he said in his post-match that he was supposed to play half an hour, but he managed to negotiate an extra 5 minutes, and then he had like a little chuckle to himself. But yeah, I thought Brobby did okay, actually. I thought, like I say, grew into the game as it went on. Yes, it was only 36, 37 minutes. I can't remember now, but he certainly put himself about. But the pleasing thing for me was you look to the bench, and I believe Wilson Isidore maybe had some personal issues to sort, which is why he wasn't part of the squad. And we hope everything's going well there. But that meant that there was no recognised senior striker on the bench, and rather than turn to Trey Ogunsui, the manager turned to Timur Tutierov, and he played up front for at least half an hour of the game, and then eventually moved out onto the wing when we brought on Ogunsui later in the game. But I thought Timur Tutierov was excellent. I thought he played like a centre forward when he came on. I've never seen him play there, but he came on and he was holding it up, laying it off, and making runs in behind. And he got in behind a few times where he was in decent positions, either to shoot or pass. I think he had three really good chances. 2 of them were headers, which he just didn't get enough on. But you mentioned before getting in behind. I lost count the amount of times we put balls in between their 2 centre halves, and we won headers, and they just weren't quite good enough headers of either a little bit tame for the goalkeeper or just wide. But I thought Tutierov looked really, really good. There's something about that lad. I like him. I know they've probably got plans to maybe loan him out or what have you. But if we're talking about players taking their chances while they're there, I think that's 3 games now where he stood out a little bit, and I think that's something to be said, and we've got to sit here and praise that, because I thought he was very, very good.
He was, Gav. He's a very different profile to Broby. And yeah, that line about Broby negotiating an extra 5 minutes. I think he was negotiating with Rodon a couple of times, because
Yeah.
it got a bit touchy.
Didn't it? I don't mind that though, because I was speculating on the preview, would Broby be like that? And like I say, I don't think he started like that. I think it took one heavy tackle from somebody for him to be like, all right then, let's have a bit.
Yeah, it took him a while to get into the spirit of things, shall we say? But yeah, towards the end of his time on the pitch, he was starting to be the Broby we know and love. Like holding off defenders and all of that. There was a couple of times when he could have maybe shot and didn't, but this will all come. This is one of the many reasons why we don't need to worry about pre-season. People are.
Yeah. He had a great chance as well, didn't he? Which couldn't just sort his feet out, where he got into a good position. And I honestly I thought, oh, this is a goal, and it just sort of like, his legs felt a bit, which you understand maybe with it being so early in his pre-season.
Yeah. I think as well, Gab, that chance, having seen a couple of the replays, it wasn't as bad as it looked live. I wonder if the ball wasn't quite at the right height either. I feel, at the time I thought he's missed a sitter, but then a couple of replays after I've wondered if I was a little bit harsh. But yeah, he was good. Tutierov came on, and I was trying to remember if I've ever seen him in a more central role for the under-21s, and I think I have. But he was a completely different level. His movement was excellent, Gav. Like you say, he was really, really good. In this pre-season, I agree entirely. He is the player who is really taking this opportunity in the first team and making the staff aware. Listen, I've got something here. It might not be at Sunderland where he spends his season, but I think in years to come, if he has a successful career, he'll look back on this time and see it was like a really big step forward. And I liked as well, I don't know if you saw, Gav, that both he and must have been Tom Proctor.
It was.
09 did a bit of a speech, and they both had a bit of a presentation whilst over there, because they both scored their first goals for the first team. And nice to see the squad recognising each other's progress and giving people a bit of a boost. So Tutierov is definitely a player who's going to come away from this tour and this pre-season as having given himself a proper opportunity, a proper go at it.
Yeah. Let's talk about their goal, because it was fairly early in the game. It was 9 minutes in. Now, I'm going to get called all the names under the sun for this, right? But after I've seen it back a few times, I don't think it's as bad as what some people are making out, because I'll tell you for why, right? It caught everyone off guard. It caught the commentators off guard. It caught us off guard watching it. It caught the cameraman off guard because it happened so quickly. Enzo Lefebvre gives the ball away, and people are blaming Elborg, and we'll get into that. But Enzo gives the ball away cheaply. It kind of falls to the goal scorer in Mecha, and he hits it really early. And I think it's a decent goal. I think it's a good finish. I think he hits it at a weird height. I don't know whether he's trying to chip him and he mishits it slightly. But it's quite accurate. It's right into the corner. It completely takes Elborg off guard. And it's like a comedy dive towards the ball rather than he can't quite adjust his feet, and he dives for it when it's already pretty much past him, and it looks a bit silly, and people straight away, oh wait, that was shite, and it wasn't great. I'm not trying to dress it up and say it was, but I actually think it was quite a decent hit that caught everybody off guard, and it maybe looked worse than it was. I don't know what you think about that, but I genuinely don't think it was as bad as some people are making out, because I've seen people absolutely laying into him online. I'm like, oh, give that one, man. It's a freaking friendly. Like, even the manager said after the game, he basically said, we'd rather make these mistakes in pre-season. Like, get your mistakes out now while ironing things out. Totally agree. Like, I hate anybody writing players off after pre-season games. Not that I want to talk about Newcastle too much, but I saw they got beat the other night. And then all over social media was their fans laying into one particular player for his performance. And even then I was thinking, it's a pre-season game. That player's probably played brilliantly for you in Premier League games. So, and Elborg has. I remember his performance away at Leeds last season, where he done really, really well. So yeah, well, I don't get your thoughts on that. Like, what do you think about the goal?
I think the fact that, like you say, his feet were in a bit of a tangle and he's ended up falling the way he has made it look worse.
Yeah.
I think in a regular, proper competitive game, I don't think Nemecha even takes that shot at that point. I personally think he scuffed it. I don't think he's meant to hit it along the deck. It's accurate, but I think in that position, you'd probably try and get a bit of air on it and chip it.
Yeah.
That's perhaps contributed to the confusion. And it's interesting that you'd mentioned what Lebris has said, because I'd missed that comment. I wondered what he would think about it. At no point there is there been any criticism of his original position, because Elborg, like Roofs, it will be instructed to be like starting out of his. I don't know, was he even in his box at the start, or was he in his 18-yard box? He's certainly not in his 6-yard box, Gav, and that's what they want from the keepers. They want the keeper around the D so that they can contribute in open play and collect the ball and pass it and what have you. So his position is right for 9 scenarios out of 10. Enzo Lefebvre's lost the ball, not expected it, and then the strikers just kind of, it's a freak. It's a freak, basically.
Yeah.
Again, you could see that scenario again 9 times out of 10, and the shot's not good, or he doesn't even try a shot, and we all move on.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree that it was probably a scuff. Like I say, I think he tried to chip him, but when you look at it, it's like an accurate. I don't think he means it. So it's hard to call it accurate, but it goes right into the bottom corner with quite a bit of pace on it, and it completely throws off everybody, including the goalkeeper, and he's made it look daft. So what I'm saying is I'm not saying like it wasn't a crap goal to concede, because it was. I just don't think it was as bad as some people are making out. I don't think there was a massive obvious error from Elborg, where, like you say, he was hanging out on the edge of his D. He probably wasn't expecting to lose the ball. When do you ever see a goal like that from 45 yards? Ever? it's normally over the head, isn't it?
Yeah.
By which point you could say, yeah, fair enough, because when the ball's in the air, you've got a lot more time to get back and steady yourself and punch it over the bar or whatever. Elborg done it. What game was it where he done it where he had to scamper back last season? It was one of the games he came into the team for. It might have even been Leeds. I can't remember now. But there was one where he had to scamper back and make a hell of a... Was it Port Vale in the Cup?
Was it when 09 played a back pass?
Yes. No, and he had to head it over the bar. Yeah, so that was Port Vale. So like, in that scenario there, right, with the 09, again, a complete freak occurrence, but it's in the air, so he's got more time to react to it, adjust himself. This one, like I say, I completely agree. I think he's went to chip him, has mishit it, but it's been that accurate in the corner. It's just made everyone look daft. And yeah, I hope people get off his back, because one, it's pre-season. Two, I don't think he made as much of an error as people are making out. Three, actually, I thought when you look, Leeds didn't want to press at all during the game, and a lot of that started at Elborg. So they had billy goats in the crowd going brr, brr, and that was doing me head in, by the way. But he didn't cave under that pressure of people booing him when he was on the ball, because they wanted him to get it out. It wasn't Sunderland fans, it was Leeds fans, I think, but they wanted him to hurry things up a bit, and he was waiting for Leeds to make a move so he could pick which pass to take. So I like how patient he was. It didn't throw him off after the goal. He just got on with it. And yeah, I think after that, the rest of the half, there were a couple of half chances for us where we had opportunities. I think Lafay and Mundell both had long ranges, which didn't really come to anything. Trey Hume had a shot right at the end of the half, which deflected behind for a corner. It might not have been at the end of the half, but it was towards the end of the half where his shot went behind for a corner. Ronaldo played well first half, I thought. Got in behind Bogle quite a few times down their right-hand side, our left-hand side, and put, as you mentioned before, balls into the box where we just didn't get on the end of it. It was. If that had been a normal game, it would have really annoyed us, because we'd done all the hard work and just didn't have the bodies in the box. It was, that was a little bit frustrating. But I was, more than anything, I was frustrated we didn't capitalize on opportunities. We actually dominated the ball. We saw more of the ball than they did, and we went into half time, and I put my thoughts on our X account at half time, saying, I think we've actually been the better side, even though we're getting beat. And it's a weird thing to say, being the better side, when you haven't really created anything meaningful, but that was how I felt going into the break. And yeah, it was, importantly, good run out. Apparently Ballard might have got a bit of a knock, which is why he came off at half time. He was seen kind of not hobbling, but obviously he took a heavy one at some point, and it was just deemed we'll not take this any further. I don't think there's anything seriously wrong with him. It was more a case of you don't need to risk yourself, which is fine. And yeah, I thought we went in the break pretty comfortably, actually, even though we were getting beat.
Yeah, I take the point in that sometimes it sounds like sour grapes. If you lose a competitive game and say, "Oh yeah, we were the better side," it's just like, whatever. You tell yourself that. But I do think that in terms of the football we were trying to play, we seemed a bit more further down the line than Leeds. There was a couple of times as well when we saw that we were getting the ball forward a lot quicker than we did last season. There was a couple of spells when we were trying to pinch the ball high up the pitch again, which we kind of do in phases. There was a few times during the season when it was really obvious, and then we kind of stopped doing it for whatever reason. Ronaldo, I wonder, Gav, if he was keen to play well, because he knows there's the high chance of this left back coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Diane.
Diane
so
McDally.
Yes, well done, Gav. That's a good word, that.
I got plenty of practice in, to be fair, the other day. So
well, that's a decent pod that you did, Gav, and we learned a lot about this target. So maybe Ronaldo has thought, hey, you might have even listened to the pod, Gav, and thought, oh bloody hell, I'm gonna have to work hard to keep me spot in the team. But yeah, he looked decent. The team in general looked decent. It was just that final moment where, like, it was crossed wires or you couldn't quite get your feet right. And I think, given the circumstances, given the fact that the humidity was mental and all of that, you can cope with it for the time being. The other thing I'd say as well is, although that was a very strong starting 11, there were still huge players missing from it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Alan Brown, for example, was decent. He's trying his best, but I don't think we're going to see him in the Premier League this year. We had Hume playing in this forward, wide right role. So it's not like this is necessarily the 11 we're going to see in the first couple of weeks of the Premier League anyway.
No, it was nowhere near, really. It was nowhere near. And even the players who made their returns kind of had to hold back a little bit, as they do, because it's the first game of pre-season. Right, we'll quickly shoot for an ad break, and then we'll come back. We'll talk about the second half. We'll see you in a few minutes.
If your business runs on 5 different apps, 12 browser tabs, and one spreadsheet that everyone's afraid to touch, it's probably time for Odoo. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that connects every part of your business into one powerful, easy-to-use platform. So instead of wasting time switching between disconnected systems, your entire business works together in real time. Your team moves faster, your data stays accurate, and you can actually focus on growing your business. Let one unified system run your entire business. From the first opportunity to the final payment, everything works together in one place. Whether you're a small business or managing a large operation, Odoo gives you one flexible platform built to grow with you. Learn more at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Welcome back to Howie the podcast, and we're getting to the second half now, Andrew. And at the break, we made a couple of subs. I think Dan Ballard came off, as I mentioned. I think he might have took a little bit of a knock. He came off, was replaced by Leo Hjelde, and Nilsson Angulo came on to make his first appearance of pre-season, replacing Romain Mundle, and I thought looked lively. Looked okay. Nice to see him back, isn't it? Because he's obviously a player we think's going to go on and have a good season this year, and had a really, really good World Cup. But yeah, we in the main, we gave almost an hour or so to a lot of players. I think the only player who stayed on for the full game was Melker Elborg, so we did get to see Robin Roofs. I imagine that means he's going to start against Wrexham. But in terms of the changes after an hour or so, Hume went off for Archie Lightfoot. O'Nien went off for Jensen Seal. Jensen Jones came on for Ronaldo. Tom Proctor came on for Nordi Mukiele. Habib Diarra came on for Alan Brown. Noah Siddiqui came on for Chris Rigg. And Simon Adingra came on for Enzo Lefebvre. And then with about 5 minutes or so to go, Triogan Sui came on for Nilsson Angulo to make sure he only got around 40 minutes or so in the game. So it was a half a change, as all these games have been. Really, you get quite into the game at half time. You're like, oh, that was a good half. And then it's almost pulled from underneath you, isn't it? Because we've got to make these changes. And I think, again, Lebris kind of alluded to this in his post-match, where I don't think he said this in it, but in so many words, he basically said, there's a need to make these changes, and it does disrupt the game, but we understand that this is a process in pre-season. We're building fitness. And that's basically what it was. And yeah, we got to see Diarra, Siddiqui, and Adingra for the first time of pre-season as well, after an hour or so. But it was a fairly weak-looking team in that second half. I think it's safe to say. It's hard to say weak, because a weaker team where people were plugged in all over the place just to make the team kind of work and tick. But it did feel after an hour or so that the intensity dropped off a lot for me, and Leeds then started to get on the ball a bit more. Leeds, I know I've just mentioned we brought on some good players, but Leeds also had some really strong players on the bench who came on around the same time. And I just think the intensity dropped off a little bit, as you expect it would when you replace senior players with fringe players or children, kids, and I called them children there.
well, Tom Proctor is Michael Proctor's child.
Yeah, and he's only 17-year-olds, I suppose. Technically, he's still a young one, isn't he?
I wonder if Tom Proctor's got it that he's on this amazing trip to America. He's away with the lads, but his dad's there, so he has to behave himself, or he's going to get in a bottle when he gets home.
Do you reckon they share a room?
Yeah.
Like Tom,
Only other,
all the lads are sneaking out through the window again for a pint, and Tom Proctor's lying in the bed adjacent to his father.
I'm just seeing all their like photos on WhatsApp and that. Absolutely devastated. Um, yeah, there was a change of pace in the second half, and some of the players on the pitch they're looking for different things. Those players who were getting minutes after the break are trying to. There are different stages in their careers, and there's different things happening for them. I still think we looked okay. We had moments. Leo Schelder, I think, probably had his. He was just solid and steady away, and that was noticeable. I thought Archie Lightfoot looked decent. He did
got
give
on the ball
himself.
quite well, didn't he? Yeah.
He gave himself plenty of credit, I think, there. The way Leeds played meant it was hard for somebody like Angulo to catch the eye. And Gav, it was too late at night. I was trying to do the maths when he came off about, has he had a similar amount of time as Broby there?
Yeah. He had 39 minutes in total.
Well, there you go. I tried working it out, but my brain wasn't having it. But even still, he did a few bits and bobs. He linked up well again with Lightfoot, and there was a couple of times we looked dangerous down the left. I didn't mind Dingra either. For somebody who's unexpected to be a part of Sunderland's squad, he looked quite bright. He tried to make a few things happen. So I didn't get the impression he was sulking or he wasn't putting it in. So
he did graft, actually, to be fair to him. Yeah, there was a few times. So obviously as the game opened up a little bit where Leeds were breaking against us because they had a bit of pace on at that point. I think they brought Dan James and Willie Nonto on, who were two of their quicker players. So and he was having to graft back and run, which has been a criticism of him in regular games, is that he's not been defensively good enough. So yeah, he looked like he was putting the work in. I agree with him with you, by the way, with the Dingra. He had to play out on the right, didn't he? Which obviously isn't his favoured position, but he was still trying to cut inside onto his left, which I think is quite interesting because he's not left-footed, and was trying to get shots away and things when we weren't. It felt like we needed somebody to get a shot away and just test the goalkeeper. Obviously, there was a brick wall in front of him in terms of that Leeds defence, and he struggled to get the ball through, but at least he was trying.
Yeah, exactly. And a player like that is always going to be hit and miss. I think if you're playing in central midfield and if you're just playing 10, 15-yard passes, that's all quite low risk. Whereas he was trying to force things. Who knows? Who knows, Gav? He might be looking at the situation and thinking, that there isn't anybody who's nailed down a spot on the right wing. I'll give it a go. I'll try my best, and there might be an opportunity for me to get back into the first team. If there's not, and if he is to move on, I think West Ham have been linked with him again. I think Isidore was as well, bizarrely. There was mention of that. But yeah, if he is to go somewhere else, scouts who are watching him there in that performance will be thinking, oh, well, at least he's looking lively and he's got a bit of confidence about himself.
Yeah. Like I said, I think he did okay. Other highlights from after the hour mark when we made all them changes. Thought Siddiqui looked lively. Thought he played slightly deeper. He actually had the captain's armband on, which was funny to me. Just, Noah Siddiqui is the captain. I think it kind of showed how inexperienced the team was that was on the pitch, because he was probably the most obvious choice, him or Diarra, really. But he looked lively. Ogunsui, when he went up front for the last sort of 5 minutes or so, had a really good header, didn't he? A chance which can't remember if the keeper saved her, it went wide. It was one of them where we popped it up in between their two centre halves. We'd done this probably 4 or 5 times in the game and never seemed to get a clean head of the ball. It was a really good cross by Siddiqui with his left foot. He come into he sort of advanced into the box, Siddiqui, and looked up, and it was a great little dink, just dinked it into the penalty spot. And Ogunsui didn't quite get a clean contact on it, but he was in the right position, did get on the end of it. It just didn't have the power behind it. And yeah, I mean, Tom Proctor, I thought was lively again. He's looked all right in every game I've seen him. I like his set players. Like, it's a shame we didn't put people in the box for them, though. That was irritating. You know, I think we had 2 or 3 corners in the last 5 minutes. And I'm looking in the box, there's 3 players there. 3, 4 players. Like, what's going on here? Why are we not sending people forward? Is it just the fact it's so warm and they can't be asked to run all that way up? Is it, what was it? But, yeah, he's got a good kick on him. He's a good corner taker, a good free kick taker, I think. He's took... Interesting as well, he's trusted to take them, because in every game he's been on the pitch, he's took all of the set players, virtually, because there hasn't been Enzo Lafayette. Him and Enzo Lafayette haven't really crossed over on the pitch. So you've had him coming on as Lafayette's going off or whatever. So it's meant somebody's had to take up the mantle of the set play taker. And 17-year-old kid coming onto the pitch taking everything. It's obviously an instruction. They've said, Tom, you take all these. But I just thought he'd done canny. And yeah, I mean, I am kind of scrambling for positives, if I'm honest, from the second half, because it as an occasion, it was quieter because of the just naturally, amount of changes made by both teams, the ridiculous heat and humidity that the players were playing in. It just didn't have the intensity of a normal game. But all in all, safe to say it was a decent run out. I'm a little bit gutted we didn't get to talk about a goal. I mean, I did stay up till 2:30 in the morning to watch it. I would have at least liked to have celebrated one goal, but we can't be too picky, I suppose. And it was, I actually heard the manager talking after the game. His thoughts were my thoughts. Like, everything he said, I was like, yeah, that's exactly how I feel about the game. Decent run out. Yes, there were mistakes. Nothing to write home about. Main thing was getting minutes in the legs.
Exactly. We're not going to be talking about these pre-season games in a few weeks' time when the real stuff starts, but it's all building blocks towards that. And like you and like Labris, I've come away from that reasonably positive. I certainly didn't see anything that left me panicking for the season. I'm not sat here now, Gav, just like you're not. We're not like worried, thinking we're miles off it. I think we're where we need to be for this point in pre-season. Dead right about Tom Proctor. It's nice that the club are giving him their trust with those set pieces, but it's also brilliant to see such a young lad thrive in that scenario. The reason we're not scoring from set pieces is not because he's scuffing them or they're bad corners and that. It's like you say, we didn't have enough bodies in the box. So Tom Proctor and everybody else is coming away from these games they're now further down the line and heading in the right direction, and they're better off than they were before they came onto the pitch in these games, and that's all you need, Gav.
Yeah, that's absolutely it, mate. If you're going to pick out somebody who was man of the match, who would you say?
Oh, that's tricky, but I think probably Tutierov.
Yeah.
Because I think we've seen a different side to him now as well, and we now know he can do a couple of different types of jobs for us.
Yeah. And I actually thought in the first half, we haven't really mentioned him, but I thought Luke O'Nien played really well in the first half. He was just setting the tempo well, because Leeds weren't pressing us and they were quite happy for us to have the ball. A lot of it was running through him, and he was those left-footed, rakers that he likes to play out to the fullbacks on the touchline. I love them. I absolutely love them. And he was spraying the ball about, classic Luke O'Nien. But yeah, I would agree. Yeah, Timur Tutierov was my pick. Like I say, it wasn't a startling performance, as people can probably hear by listening to us. But hopefully we've managed to paint the picture of how the game went, Andrew, and people have enjoyed the show. And hopefully we can maybe kick it up a notch when we play Wrexham, because that's going to be another tough game for us. We're going to preview that in the coming days, so make sure you listen out for that, people. But there is a point to make here, which I think has to be made, and I'm probably teaching me granny to suck eggs here with a lot of you. But open Twitter, see some of the comments about one or two of the players. It isn't that serious. It's a pre-season game. Don't read anything into it. I call these double positives, because even when you get beat, you can sit and do a podcast afterwards trying to give positives, because that's all you should be searching for from these games. There is nothing to read into any of it. And yeah, we haven't scored. Yeah, we didn't put chances away. Their goal was a bit of a mucky one. But I think overall the performance was pretty decent. And it was a good run out. Nobody was majorly hurt as far as we're aware. And we move on to the next one where we're going to see more of the lads who played at the World Cup, which is going to be nice. You know, we're going to get to see probably an hour, 45 minutes out of them instead of 20 odd minutes or whatever it was for each of them. So I am actually looking forward to that Wrexham game. But yeah, not just to round off, Andrew, there's nothing to worry about. It's a pre-season game, right?
Exactly. Onwards and upwards. If you were to speak to the coaches unofficially, I think the coaching staff are going to be happy with the progress. We're there or thereabouts, and there's more players to come. So
Yeah.
it's looking decent for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, we've got plenty coming up on the pod over the coming days because that Wrexham game will probably hit us right in the face. It's only, 2 days away now when we play Wrexham? And that's in Philadelphia, isn't it? So we move in. It's only not too far for the fans to go, I think, from New Jersey to Philadelphia. It's only a short trip, about an hour and a half or so, which in the States is a short trip, isn't it? You know, like I know people who live over there who wouldn't think twice about driving like 10 hours. It's just something they do. So, you know, an hour and a half's like us going to, Sea Road, isn't it? It's loud. But we've got a Q&A coming up tomorrow, so that's something a little bit different. We haven't had a Q&A for a while now, just because of the frequency of games and everything going on. So Chris and the lads will be doing that. And then we've got the match day preview, which I think me and you are on again, Andrew, for the Wrexham game. There'll be a reaction pod as well on Sunday night as we discuss the fallout from that Wrexham performance. Thank you very much, mate. Been a pleasure as always.
Thank you for having us. And I think you're right. We've got another early start lined up to discuss the Wrexham game. So
Yes.
we're putting in the effort and getting ready for the season too.
That's it. I've interrupted my sleep to come and do this podcast. I say that I don't sleep very much at all. 4 hours is enough for me. I was up and bright. I was fine. But yes, thank you for joining us, everybody. If you did stay up for the game, let us know exactly what you think of the performance. You can reply to the posts that we put out on social media, or leave comments on the articles on the website, or even leave comments on Spotify, as that's now an option. If you do listen to us on Spotify, there is right when you open the episode, there's a comment section. You can leave comments on there. I'll do my best to reply to everybody about what they thought of the game. But yes, let us know what you think. We'll see you tomorrow.